You are listening to the Life, Hope, and Leadership podcast with Nick Shabrinsky, a transparent, honest, and encouraging podcast to equip you through real-life experiences.
Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for jumping on Life, Hope, and Leadership with me. I'm so excited you are actually listening to my podcast. This is officially episode number 3 of this series. I do have other content that will jump into my podcast channel of different things I teach throughout our church, but the Life, Hope, and Leadership are a very intentional 15 minute episode just to kind of go through some things that are stirring in my spirit and things that I hope will encourage you in your life. Today's thought is you got to get moving. You know, I woke up and I'm just thinking about all the different things that I want to do. And it's annoying sometimes because when I get around people older than me, they try to remind me how young I am. When I get around people younger than me, they try not to remind me how old I am. And the reality is you probably experience the same thing on a regular basis. The fact is you're not getting any younger. And I do a lot of funerals. I do a lot of sit downs and meetings with people. I do a lot of just kind of awareness of what's going on in the community and throughout our church, and just obviously your everyday relationships with people. And you realize that a lot of people are not doing what's in their heart to do. A lot of people are doing what is demanded of them, but they're not demanding of them what they want to do. And the fact is you got to get moving. So I want you to grab something to take notes with and just write it down. You got to get moving. You got to put this on your forehead. You got to type this on a piece of paper, write it on your wall, dry erase it to your window, put it in lipstick on your mirror, ladies. I don't care what you got to do, but you got to get moving. The Bible says in Proverbs 16:3, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. Commit to the Lord whatever you're going to do, and the Lord will establish your plans. So right off the bat, I mean, the Bible, and I'm a Bible guy. Like I said, you may be listening to this and you're like, dude, don't tell me the Bible. Listen, we can talk about that. You can listen to some stuff. You can message me. I'll gladly share my faith with you. And I am not a punch you in the face kind of guy when it comes to spirituality and your hope and your walk with God. I think that you deserve to talk about it. But I am a Bible guy, and the Bible is very clear. It says, if I commit to the Lord, whatever I do. And I think a lot of people, what they do is they masquerade and they say that what they are doing is committed to the Lord. But we already know right off the bat that anything you commit to the Lord is going to start with the way God would do it. It's going to go the way God would do it. And it's going to either end or succeed the way that God would do it. So a lot of people say, hey man, yeah, I do it for God, but then they don't start it the right way. They don't do it the right way, and they're in it for the wrong reasons. And so then they go, well, why is God not establishing my plans? So, you know, right off the bat, you got to search your heart. Psalm 139:23 says, search my heart, God, and see my heart. Know me, know more about me than I know of myself, and let me know if there's any wickedness in me, so that you can lead me in your way everlasting. Well, what does Proverbs 16 say? That God will lead me or establish the plans that I have. You got to get moving. You got to sit down and decide, before you are going to do anything great, have you actually committed to that? I was with a friend the other day and he was telling me how much he wants to be at church. And he's like, I'm sick of working on Sundays. And I just looked at him and said, have you gone to your job and said, I don't work on Sundays? Every other major world religion out there, if you said, I need my religious worship time, they would subside and give you that time or be gracious to you. Sadly, when it comes to Christianity, a lot of that is not so true, and it's taken with a grain of salt, and maybe because a lot of Christians haven't necessarily shown the devotion or the devoutness that would need to be seen to consider the request to be something worth taking seriously. However, that doesn't mean because others haven't taken it seriously that you can't. If you've committed to going to the gym, have you actually gone to the gym, made the membership? Have you carved out the schedule? Have you told others around you, hey, I'm going to go to the gym. Do you want to go with me? Do you want to kick it with me? You're actually making plans that you're going to carve out whatever you do and you're going to commit to it. Well, what does commit mean? Well, let's go ahead and just look up the definition of commit. Why not? Commit literally means to carry out something you said you would do, to pledge, or to bind something to a certain course or policy. So you're saying, hey man, I'm going to make a policy for my life. I'm going to commit to this thing. And so right off the bat, you cannot get a plan established if you have not committed in your heart. The second thing is you've got to have a plan. So I've committed, I've set it in my heart. Okay, now comes the plan. Philippians 1:6 says, I can be confident of this, that my God who has started something good in me will continue it out until its completion, until I see the day of Jesus Christ. And the reality is the day you see Jesus Christ is the day you die. So God's plan is to carry out his plan for you every day until you see Jesus. But you got to commit your ways to the Lord. So, I was just thinking about time wasted, years wasted, minutes wasted. I think about all the relationships I had before I met my wife. I think about all the money I spent before I decided to start saving. I think about all the Oreos I ate, and then my metabolism shifted. Are you feeling me? I think about all of the places I said I wanted to go, and then all the places I went that really weren't that important. I think about all the things I said I wanted to do, but I forget about all the stuff that had no value. One of the worst things I hear people say all the time is, I don't have time. But the reality is everybody has time. You just have to decide how you use it. You should write that down. Everybody has time. Everybody wakes up and has a 24-hour day ahead of them. Now that's up to you how you use that time. So the reality is you can't keep wasting time and then cry about how much time you don't have. I think they said the average person watches 4 hours to 6 hours of television or screen time a day. Well, how much of that screen time have you said, you know what, I'm going to carve out learning something. I'm going to take 90 days or maybe even 6 months to learn a new skill through YouTube or through Skill Trade or different apps and different programs. Are you going to learn a new language? Is there something you've always wanted to do? You have the time. You're watching Netflix. What if you turned that Netflix time into learning time? People say they don't read. I hear this all the time. Oh, I don't like to read books. But then they read Facebook all day. They read status after status after status that is full of negativity and gossip and lacks a quality of truth. If you took that same energy and just said, I'm going to open a book and learn something. So you can't keep wasting time and then cry about how much time you don't have. So another thought I want you to think about is you have to decide what you do with your time. I told my friend, listen, you got to decide. You have to dictate what you do with your time. You only have so much of it. Any time wasted is time you'll never get back. But the Bible does tell us that when we commit our time to God, he will restore time back to us. Now, how does he do that? Well, I think that whenever you start to master your time, you start to master efficiency, all of a sudden you realize what I used to be able to do in 24 hours, now I can do in 12 hours. And so while you may not have gotten more time in your day, you've made more day with your time. So you have to decide what you do with your time. And here's what I told him, and I will tell you this. Pharaoh was a guy in the Bible that did not like the quality and free time that God's people were learning to have. God's people all of a sudden learned how to do the same amount of work quicker so that they had more free time to build their community and to spend with their family and to create increase. And the problem is increase will eventually take you out of the bondage of whoever owns your time. And so Pharaoh said, you know what? Forget this. I don't like how much free time. I don't like how much they're succeeding. I don't like the fact that these guys are starting to move on. And so what he did was doubled up their labor, but did not increase their benefits. And so you have to decide what you do with your time, or Pharaoh will decide it for you. The other thing I want you to think about is you have to take your next step. Everybody has a next step. Oh man, I really wish I had a 401k. Okay, well, $5 a day. Oh, I don't have $5 a day. Well, do you smoke? Do you go to Starbucks? Do you go to Dunkin' Donuts? Do you go out to eat? How often do you go out to eat? How much do you spend going out to eat? You know, my wife and I, we don't have kids yet, so it was often easy for us to go out to eat, and it didn't really mess with the budget. But lately, it's crazy. You can't go to Wendy's without spending $20 for two people. Well, we can make meals at home, probably eat a whole day for $20 if we're creative. And then you go, you know what? Let's take 5 of the go out to eats that we were going to do, and let's put that into a savings account, a retirement account. Let's put that against our mortgage and pay our house off sooner. There's all these different things that you can do. And sadly, most of the time that people are pressed for is because of their financial situation. So let's start looking through the plan and the eyes of God and go, okay, God, how can we change our financial situation so that we can change our time situation? And the more time that you have free is the more time you can go out and make a difference in your world. Whether that means being more present with your kids, more present with your spouse. Maybe you want to go and travel the world. Maybe you want to go serve at a local food shelter or homeless shelter. Or maybe you want to go help a family member or go visit a place you've never been to, or maybe even just go make some new memories. You can't do that if your time is being taken, and your time is constantly going to be controlled if you're in financial bondage. That's why I love one of our financial groups that we do at our church. It's called Financial Peace. And while I don't agree with 100% of everything Dave Ramsey or Financial Peace says, I 100% believe in the principles, and I believe that God intends for you to be debt-free so that Pharaoh is not running you all over the block. The next thing I want you to think about is a goal without a plan is not a goal. It's just a dream. A dream with a plan is a goal. Write that down. A dream with a plan is a goal. And a dream is not a goal until you introduce the plan. So let me ask you, what is your dream? You got to write that down. Well, here's some things I want to do. I want to be a pilot. I want to learn sign language. I want to speak fluent Spanish. So when I go to other countries and I'm doing missions in Latin communities, I can speak Spanish to them. If I go do missions and meet people in China, I would love to speak Chinese. So I realize I can't do all of these in the same week or in the same month. So I have to start sectioning out the next 6 months, the next 12 months, the next 5 years to go, well, okay, when am I going to become a pilot? When am I going to become an author? Well, I did that last year. Why? Because I carved out time. Well, when am I going to start a podcast? Well, that was a dream of mine. And then I realized, okay, I have to start getting a plan. I have to make a goal. So a dream has no timeline. A goal has a timeline. And a plan is how you arrive from no timeline to a destination on time. And here's the reality, my friends. I want you to arrive on time. I want you to get to your dream. I want you to live your life as a dream come true. You deserve that. That's God's desire for you, is to live a life that's a dream come true. So people can run to you. The Bible says, arise and shine, for the light has come. Arise and shine. What does that mean? You got to get up and get moving. You got to arise. You can't be sleeping. It's great you were dreaming, but dreamers are dreaming when they're sleeping. So you got to wake up and live a dream come true. Arise and shine, for the light has come, and the glory of the Lord is upon you, and people will run to you that don't even know you because they see the glory of God on your life. It is the glory of God to fulfill the purpose that God has placed inside of you for his glory. Remember, you're committing your plans to him. So a goal without a plan is not a goal at all. It's just a dream. So you got to sit down. What's your goals? What's your dreams? Write down a list of 100 dreams. Now you go in there and you go, you know what? I think I could do 5 of these this year. Okay, so that's a goal. And now you go, okay, well, how am I going to actually make that happen? And that's the plan. What's your dream? What's your plan? And when would you like to arrive? So let me just wrap it up with this. If I said today that my wife and I were going to jump in the car and we're going to drive to Disney World, well, the reality is, hey, I want to go to Disney World. Well, that's a dream. Hey, today we're going to Disney World. Okay, that is a plan. That is a goal. And then the next thing I'm going to do, okay, I have a dream. Hey, we want to go to Disney World. Okay, that's a dream. We're going to go to Disney World today. That's a goal. Okay, when are we going to get there? Well, I'm not going to know when we're going to get there until I put the plan in. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the address in my GPS, or I'm going to grab a roadmap. But without either one, I'm not actually driving towards a destination. I'm just going for a drive. So you have to decide today, my friends, what's your next step? Well, I would tell you the first thing you need to do is just start writing down every dream you have. And then you need to start extracting from that dream, maybe 20 of them, maybe 50 of them. I would challenge you to write down 100 dreams because I guarantee you they're in there somewhere sleeping. You probably had more of them before you started believing you can never do them. But I want to pray for you today, and I want to ask God that he would begin to stir the dreams that he's placed inside of you, because often those dreams are attached to your divine purpose. And that divine purpose, Pharaoh hates it. The spirit of this world and the systems of this world hate it. The spirit of this world and the systems of this world want you to be enslaved to time and money. But God's plan is to set you free from that so you can reveal his glory in your life. It's not going to be the same crap another day anymore for you. Today, I want you to wake up and say, you know what? I have a dream. Today, it's turning into a goal, and I'm going to create the plan. So I put my GPS in, and it tells me, hey, you know what? This is going to take you a long drive from Pittsburgh. You could fly. You could take a bus. You could take a train. You could do whatever you want. But if you're going to drive it, this is how long it's going to take. Buckle up, baby. Enjoy the ride, and don't miss a turn. By the way, if you do, just go right back down to the plan, because maybe you have to do a U-turn, but we'll get you right back on track. So the plan gets you there, and the plan keeps you on track. I hope that helps you. I hope today that you'll write down 100 things that you could dream of doing. They could be from your career to your family. They could be the craziest, most wildest things. The worst thing you could do is refuse to write something down just because it's too wild. So write it down, start praying about it, take some of those, they become your goals, and then start activating a plan. I hope that helps you. Thanks for jumping in with Life, Hope, and Leadership with Nick Shabrinsky. I am Nick Shabrinsky. If you're enjoying today or any of my other episodes, make sure you like, subscribe, follow on all social media platforms, and make sure you leave a review, because that helps me reach more people with all the little random things that are going through my head. Have a great day.
You are listening to the Life, Hope, and Leadership podcast with Nick Shabrinsky, a transparent, honest, and encouraging podcast to equip you through real life experiences.